This is lesson 29. We're talking about multiplying fractions. We're going to be multiplying fractions today. And actually, multiplying fractions is very, very simple because you only have to remember one simple thing. So we'll go ahead and get straight into the example. So when you're multiplying fractions, all you have to remember is multiply the numerator times the denominator. So it says, what fraction is 1/2 of 3/4? So all it's asking you to do is say 1/2 times 3/4. And all you have to do is simply multiply the numerator times the numerator, or top times the top, and then the denominator times the denominator, which is the bottom times the bottom, and that's your answer. All right. Example 2. Ask multiply 3/4 times 2/3. Well, once again, if we stick to that principle of multiplying the numerator times the numerator, then we have 3 times 2 over 4 times 3, which gives us 6 over 12. Now, remember, we must make sure that we simplify this. So I can divide both of these by 6, the numerator and the denominator, and that will give me 1/2. So that would be my final answer there. Example 3 is a little different, but it's not that different. So we notice we have a whole number in the number 4, but we also have a fraction in 1/2. So in order to change any whole number to a fraction, we just place it over 1. So I have this little song that I used to tell my students, and it's a call and response song, and I say, what you do with whole numbers, place it over 1. What you do with whole numbers, place it over 1. So when I call and I say, what you do with whole numbers, their response is place it over 1. So anytime you have a whole number, you simply just place it over 1. So we have 4 times 1 over 1 times 2, which gives us 4 over 2. Make sure we always simplify. Both of these numbers are divisible by 2, so we get 2 over 1. All right. And actually, I realized that I just messed this problem up. So let's erase it. I wrote the incorrect problem, but the rule still stands. So for the example that we used, we would do like that. But let's redo this and do the correct example number 3 so that you can follow along with this in your textbook. So in this case, it's actually 4 times 2/3. I do apologize for that. So we still take this 4 and place it over 1 times 2 over 3. All right. And that gives us 4 times 2 over 1 times 3, which gives us 8 over 3. Or as I like to say, the number tree. We'll get to that later though. Example 4. Example 4. Let's get back to some black. Example 4 says, 3 pennies are placed side by side as shown below. The diameter of 1 penny is 3/4 of an inch. How long is the row of pennies? So in actuality, we can, since we have 3 pennies and each of them have a diameter of 3/4, we actually can say 3/4 times 3 because there's 3 pennies and each of them has a diameter of 3/4. So we want to make sure that we keep our 3/4 as a fraction, and we multiply that by 3 over 1 because you always take whole numbers and place them over 1. So we have 9 over 4, and that is our answer. Now we definitely want to get used to changing this to a mixed number. So 9 divided by 4 gives me 2. 2 times 4 is 8, so we have 1 left, 2 and 1/4. And if we know that these are the same value, so this would be our final answer, 2 and 1/4. And we want to definitely say that that is inches. Example 5. Example 5 is asking to reduce 8 over 12. Now, when we reduce a fraction, we're actually breaking down this numerator and denominator, and we're dividing them by the greatest common factor. So in this case, we can divide 8 by 4, and we can also divide 12 by 4, because the greatest common factor of 8 and 12 is 4. So 8 divided by 4 equals 2. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So this 8/12 and 2/3, they have the same value, but 2/3 is the reduced form. Another word for reduce is simplify. Okay, so we can reduce it or simplify it. They are the same, just like potato, potato. Example 6 says that we can actually, they want us to multiply 2 times 5/12. And once again, what you do with whole numbers, place it over 1. So 2 over 1 times 5 over 12, which gives us 2 times 5 over 1 times 12. That gives us 10 over 12. But remember, we must reduce or simplify this. So the greatest common factor between 10 and 12 is actually 2. So we're going to divide the numerator and denominator by 2. We get 5 over 6. And that is our answer. Last but not least, we have example 7. Example 7 asks us, it says there were 8 baseball bats and 12 baseball gloves in the bag. What is the ratio of bats to gloves in the bag? Now notice we have bats over gloves. We want to write this ratio as a fraction because we're working with fractions. So in this case, we have 8 over 12, and we must simplify that. We've definitely got to simplify. So we divide these by the greatest common factor of 4, and that gives us 8 divided by 4 gives us 2. 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So the ratio of bats to gloves is 2 to 3, or 2/3. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the practice set.